Alright, so what's up next for Grayson?
Grayson destroyed the Chimeran anti-aircraft gun, opening a window for the 2nd Squadron. Within hours, we were able to pass through, bringing supplies and reinforcements. At a makeshift command center on the outskirts of Rotterdam, plans were quickly drawn up and assignments made. Cartwright would lead a task force to the south to intercept a Chimeran earth mover that was heading towards Luxembourg. I would take the remainder of 2nd Squadron to
So
Luxembourg.
now we're moving to Germany, I think, in order to get
Grayson would accompany Bouchard to
yeah,
Bonn,
Bonn
under
in
the
Germany.
command of Marquis
Luxembourg.
Colonel Roland
Oh my god, I've
That's
wondered.
where we have to get.
Are they actually
Again,
going?
it's kind of nice that we're not just sticking to France, but we're kind of doing a tour of northwest Europe.
Oh my god, are they actually going to show what Hitler's up to in this continuity, where I guess he didn't get his rise to power?
I don't think they mentioned that, but it's strongly implied that, you know, he died away. But mind you, like I said, because of the circumstances that were done after World War One, which are mostly explained, like I said, in you know, in either data log or side material, the fascist dictatorships, you know, at least in Europe, never rose to power. And obviously, because the Chimeran faction started from Russia, you know, neither the Soviet Party nor Imperial Japan could not rise to power either.
You know, in a sense, when you think about it, the Chimera could arguably be considered a form of the Thing, at least going off of John Carpenter's interpretation.
There you go. If you forgot, the carriers are the ones that literally carry, you know, bodies towards the conversion centers. So that's what we need to follow.
Oh, so they're drift balloons but evil.
Basically, we had seen them in the first game. It's just that they were not targetable as enemies, or they were just a background element.
But yeah, like I was saying, when you get down to it, the Chimera could be considered kind of like John Carpenter's The Thing, like an alien who can infect other people who in turn become like it, essentially. Like, when you get down to it, weren't there technically like 3 or 4 things in The Thing, essentially?
No, it was only one that spread.
So technically, they're all linked to whatever, I guess.
Yes, they are a hive mind of sorts.
Huh. Isn't that interesting? A species that can spawn its own hive mind.
We are here to find out what they are doing. You British always wanted to blow things up.
Sorry, Lives.
Hey, we don't always just blow things up. Sometimes we eat them.
I mean, I know the church...
I mean, well, it's not just. I thought the joke was going to say it was not just blowing up. Sometimes we just outright colonize them.
Yeah, this is exactly one of those things. Where, why did they make this cutscene a pre-rendered? Okay, now it actually looks like it's a bit more spruced up. Like,
I mean, he's not wrong.
I can tell you that these FMVs are not upscaled. They're just present as the way they were.
Well, here's the thing too. Okay, I'll wait till this is done.
Yeah, go on, Dweebs.
Marquis Command has ordered me to accompany Bouchard and Mallory to Bonn, Germany, to find out why the Rhine has dried up. Thousands of carriers have been seen there, flying in and out of the Bonn Dome like bees swarming in a hive. Bouchard thinks this is some kind of new Chimera conversion facility. She needs to get inside it, but she won't tell me why. So, this is why I volunteered to come to Europe. I don't care how big this shit has gotten. I'm just gonna blow it the hell up.
Yes, hold on to darkness, sadness, and tragedy. Throw it all away.
Yes, Pedro.
Access me once more, Mr. XG, and I'll make sure you get blown up.
This is something that that is unavoidable when it comes to.
Yeah.
Again, it depends on. Okay,
Jesus,
it depends. It depends on whether or not they still have. Since these are emulations rather than a proper native port, obviously you're not actually messing with the game's assets necessarily. So when it comes to movie files, you have to actually go ahead and mess with the files, at least in some kind of like AI upscaling way or something along those lines. But since they're just emulating the game as it is, obviously the FMVs are going to remain as they were on the PSP.
For this initial level, you're separated from Bouchard and Mallory, and you leave to follow the trenches moving the trenches by following the carriers until you're reunited with them.
Remind me, Tio, can the Chimera still make a dead person a Chimera, or do they have to be living?
Okay, no, it still needs to be living, if I remember correctly, but this game is gonna try to put a spin on the way the Chimeras, you know, convert people into them. You will have to see.
Okay.
But no, what Pedro says is right. It's been admittedly a long time since I played the PS3 versions of God of War Chain of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta. So I don't remember if the FMVs in that one were upscaled or they just had the negatives that they used.
I can actually help you there, since unlike you, I've actually played them in a more recent manner. Like the PS3 remasters, you can tell everybody at Dawn went back and got the original assets and properly. It's the best way to go about it, of course, is going back to the original masters of these FMVs and properly sprucing them up and display them in HD. The thing, and remember, the PSP the PS3 versions of those games are not emulations; they're actual native HD ports. So Ready at Dawn went back to their source code and their masters, and they put it all there, right?
It's also why they run into 60 FPS too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Whereas this is just an emulated an emulator running the PSP ISO. So it's a completely different thing there. So obviously, again, the same thing happens with any other official emulation like that. Like for example, you take a look at any emulated versions of something like what you see from
the PS1 games, for example, one currently on PS4 also do that. Like I said, to the point, because they have the upscaling of resolution, but to compensate that, they do not really touch the frame rate in order to try to avoid glitching or crashing problems. Even though some games I do believe they would work fine with with frame rate performance improved, but again, they just want to be safe for that. And also, I get the idea they just wanted to focus also on adding the rewind feature, and I get the idea, the upscale frame rate could screw also that.
I will say that I do appreciate the fact that they let us purchase these new emulations, like you would in the Wii and Wii U Virtual Console, like individual purchases that you keep forever, rather than having to remain subscribed to a subscription service. Because I don't really like how the Switch eliminated the Virtual Console. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the Switch and all, but like, why did you get rid of the Virtual Console?
So they could start selling games again from scratch, because that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Again, honestly, well, again, the thing with that is that there being some third-party, annexation recently for the Switch Online program that utterly baffled me. It's one thing to have some of for example, the Alone in the Dark game, because that's the Embracing group with THQ Nordic that's actually, doing that. But like the other month, compared to when we record this, like a couple of months ago, like out of fucking nowhere, there were 2 Japanese exclusive games that were Nintendo, and then very specifically the Game Boy Color video game adaptation of Quest for Camelot done by Titus.
That
remember,
was
and like thing. I don't even like Titus is defunct as a company. Who did that?
Do Warner Brothers own it?
I guess it has to be Warner Bros.
Yeah,
like,
and remember, sorry.
I can imagine how that must have gone. Hey, Dale, we got something...
Let me talk about this, because the shot is called the Schrotflinte. 12 gauge is a double barrel combat shotgun. Press the R button to fire a single shot. Press the L button to discharge both barrels for maximum stopping power. Deploy for close quarter urban combat. The Schrotflinte wide pellet spread has proven especially effective against large clusters of small enemies, especially leapers. Yes and no, you'll be able to see. Go on.
I can only imagine how that talk must have gone. Hey, Dale. We got this old Zelda knockoff game in storage. I was thinking maybe we could license it out to Nintendo to re-release. You remember that Quest for Camelot game? That was totally a hit, right?
And mind you, it's not like the fact that it was like the anniversary of the release of a movie. There was a re-release of some kind or a project attached to it. It's literally out of nowhere. It really feels just a thing that happened. But go on, Pedro.
No, yeah. And remember, since the Switch Online NES, SNES, GBA, and so on apps are tied to your Switch Online subscription service, that means that you have to occasionally go online to renew the license. You can't just
Wait, really? I've got mine on automatic.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing, Joe. Remember, this basically means that one day, when the servers do go down, your subscription will go down with it.
My personal hope is that when the sequel console, which seems to be coming close, is on its way, that this time they'll have the foresight and knowledge to, you know, make sure that stuff is properly linked and not lost. That's the ideal. Whoa.
Anyway, new enemy type, which is just a foreshadowing here. A new mech type. We don't as far as I know, there are no stalkers in this game, probably for logistical reason, you know, again, technology and everything. But the Chimeras do possess a couple of vehicles nonetheless, so watch out.
Based off of that walking posture, looked like a weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
Again, sometimes I do like, you know, Grayson's, you know, not this shit again kind of attitude. It's just that, you know, when he's not throwing insults at people.
And again, the thing is, throwing insults at people is one thing, but he does not feel creative about it. I mean, I know that's a weird criteria to have, but at least well, I guess he technically does get new material, but it feels so basic and run-of-the-mill.
No, and keep in mind, Rob, it's most of his routine are, you know, in terms of insulting people, are the French, the Chimera, and occasionally women.
So, tell me, Tio, better or worse than the, colorful insults of Rogue Warrior?
Oh, man. No, it's technically better because, again, Grayson is not technically wearing every 5 seconds and he's still, you know, accomplishing all this shit. Rogue Warrior was just a barrage, you know, of, you know, the guy just wearing and, you know, being racist against his targets.
Like, Rogue Warrior felt like it was literally taking a look at every action movie and going, oh, they have swearing, so every swear will obviously make me money, essentially, which is...
Honestly, there is an Activision series called Soldier of Fortune, which is apparently based on an actual existing magazine, apparently. And the first game in that series does what Rogue Warrior wanted to do and accomplishes it much better. And I would like to remind you, said game, also done before the War on Terror, involves a level in which you have to go to Iraq and prevent a coup d'etat against Saddam Hussein.
Oh, goodness gracious. Media have ever since.
It even has Michael Clark Duncan as your sidekick, believe it or not.
Ah, nice.
Anyway, don't worry about this. For these sections where Grayson has to walk around, you know, at tight scaffolding, instead of doing the, you know, the Tomb Raider or Uncharted thing of having to balance, you know, and watching out so you might fall, Grayson just ducks down and moves automatically. So unless you actually steer completely to left or right, you don't have a problem, you know, in falling down. Again, probably logistical, you know, thing in order to fit the technology and not creating too many problems. I can perfectly understand that. Okay, let me use this to talk about the Flint shotgun, because, man, this kind of sucks. Not gonna lie. It's technically fine for what the shotgun is, you know, does the first thing you think it's best to do, close range. But it gets to the point that a bad shotgun usually gets classified in a case where a bad shotgun still works at close range. It's usually labeled as effectively might as well be a melee weapon, and it kinda is when you get down to it in this case. When it comes to actually aiming at a bit of a distance, particularly against the leaper, sometimes it works with the spread, sometimes it really doesn't. Like I said, again, it's a bit finicky technology done for an hardware like this, but man, this is not really a good shotgun. Not the worst I've seen or played, but it doesn't have a particular punch to it. It just does a bit of like that instead of, you know, being meaty and you know, and having a satisfying sound design.
Quite peculiar.
It's kind of like what, again, if you've seen Johnny's review of Resident Evil 2, think of what he said about the shotgun in that game, you know, and you get what I mean.
Is that the OG one?
Yes. Yeah, no, it's good to differentiate, to make a distinction, Dave, so you're right. Oh, fuck.
It's never easy, is it?
Okay, Gary, when did you let the foghorn of the ship into your recording studio?
It's genius, isn't it?
I guess.
Hey.
I'm not a composer, so...
Hey, look, if Tchaikovsky could
Alright,
use
here we
cannons,
go.
what's wrong with a foghorn?
Don't have exactly the title, but we're gonna explain in a second if I recall correctly.
Oh, that is absolutely Metal Gear.
Let's go.
And it just laid an explosive deuce, too.
Where's Bouchard? We got separated by that machine. She and Mallory escaped. Down there. Let's kill this thing and move out. I'm out of rocket ammunition. It's the only thing that seems to work. Our rifles may as well be slingshot. We left most of our ammo on the second floor. We've lost a lot of men trying to retrieve it. You and your men distract it while I make a dash for the ammo. They said you were crazy, Grayson. But this just might work.
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
Alright,
because I'm not French and I don't give a... Oh, shit. I'm not
here's
listening
the
to
here's
that.
the problem. I don't have. I had to warn you already. Every time you encounter one of these things, be forewarned because a couple of these missile attacks can genuinely cause a seizure. Unfortunately, it's not a case of rapid machine gun, but this fucker throws missile in rapid sequence, and each of the explosion produces a white flashbang of an effect, like this.
Whoa!
Yeah. Again, and trust me, I've edited some of these things out because while not affecting me personally, yes, I can see how this is a problem.
Like, shoot, I don't even suffer from seizures, and even I felt like I might need sunglasses for that.
Even if it's not affecting, it's just unpleasant. Like, I don't really know what was the thought process with that.
I guess one could argue that, oh, in real life, yes, that's what explosions like that might look like, but I don't know. Oh, okay, you know what I think's the problem? The bloom factor. I think the bloom makes the explosion look much worse than it would without it, essentially. Because it adds that extra blurriness and light. Like, that's the thing about bloom. It adds blurriness and light to stuff, which, again, in hindsight, makes things not look as great. Throwing explosions, which are already bright there, and well,
Yeah,
you
like
can
I said,
see.
the jump cut is to avoid specifically the rocket salvo. So
Okay.
again, I will also do that in the future because this is not just a it's consider it a mini boss type of encounter. It's not super recurring, but go on, Pedro,
Also, I
sorry.
noticed...
Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, this is not.
Well, it's not a nuke, so...
Well, but like,
Yeah.
but trust me, Theo, Nolan shows you the explosion in its infinite visual detail.
But he
What?
promised me I'd feel it, damn it, and I'm not dead, so 0 out of 10.
Well, you see, Dribs, you needed to go to one of the special 4DX or ScreenX
I'm
theaters
actually-
Yeah,
that
that's
involve...
Hold on.
That's the saddest thing, it wasn't even in 4DX.
Go on without
Oh,
me.
of course.
I'll stand guard. Something tells me when you come back up, trouble will follow.
Please don't die.
Well,
Jaded little sod. I kind of like you.
what a
Oh.
jaded little sod.
Oh, look, this marriage can be saved, guys.
Maybe that's the entire point of the game. By the end of the
Should it
game,
though?
Grayson will learn to trust the French, I
The
guess.
Bonn facility was a
Why
massive
do they
structure
care?
that
Should
defied
it?
all knowledge of human
The,
engineering.
well,
Not
I
because of
guess
the
that's
dome
only
itself,
for
which
Destiny to
stretched out
So
decide
yeah,
at this
the-
point.
as mentioned in the briefing, the weird thing that's happening here in Germany is that the Chimeran has raised a particular structure, not a tower, but a particular structure that has drained literally the Rhine River, and we're using huge quantities of water for it. We don't know the reason.
Chimera were using the water as part of their new conversion process. But without Grayson, she would never
Wasn't
live to
water
find out
like
if
a
her
big
father was
plot
right.
point in one of the Resistance games, now that I
No.
think about it?
No.
Alright.
We'll see.
I wonder why I'm
Alright,
getting a sense of
next
deja
up.
vu.
Right. 1st of September. Before my arrest, I destroyed well over 26 conversion centers, which makes me the closest there is to an expert on these shitholes. But I've never seen anything quite like this one. A subterranean world hidden below Bonn and fed by waters diverted from the Rhine River. No way could even the Chimera have built a place like this. It feels more carved or excavated. Not knowing would scare most people, but it just makes you wonder if I brought enough Of course.
Fun.
Wait, I got. Tio cast me as a guy that likes explosives, since I like putting things up in video games. But this character is also a giant racist wanker.
No, it's mostly because of the Britishness.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Tio, what the hell?
I mean, Dwibs. Even I pretty much disassociated you with him just off of the
Dwibs,
British accent.
if we ever cover Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, someone will have to voice Bedlam, whatever she's called, and I don't try to think of who might be. Anyway, yeah, Valerie has left Bouchard behind because Caddy is French.
No one could live through that.
Wait, this is a conversion center. I know how these machines work. If we can get to her before they begin their...
Get out of my way! I am not going to end up on some alien butcher block like Bouchard.
Which...
Oh, you piece of shit.
Okay, that was needlessly dickish.
I'm surprised.
What the fuck did you say about my brother?
I'm genuinely surprised Grayson just didn't punch him in the face for that.
Let me guess. Mallory will eventually see the error of his ways and come back and help us, and he may or may not die a heroic death.
Well, that's what we'll have to see. For the time being, we're unfortunately all alone in these mysterious conversion center, even if it's unlike the ones that Grayson normally has seen. Yeah, a thing that I haven't mentioned yet, you're gonna learn quickly how to detest the drones here. Similar to the Leapers, they are very good at dodging your bullets, going, zigzagging left and right. So you have to watch out. Either that, or also try to adjust the sensitivity of your aiming. You can do that in the option, Oh boy, this.
Roland!
Rain, it's Grayson. What's your position?
Chiba! Can't breathe!
Stay with me, Bouchard. I'm on my way.
Okay. I don't know what they technically did, but basically this starts essentially what the core of the mission is. Grayson having to save Bouchard, which has been captured, and she is basically being stuffed in some of these tubes, which are with water, and basically she's transported all over the place, from the facility. That's pretty standard stuff. The thing is that she's able to communicate with him via radio, despite constantly being a lot of times submerged. I can tell you that for a 50s radio equipment, that shit wouldn't last 1 second in a body of water.
Yeah, I was about to say.
There's a bit of suspension of disbelief going on here.
I guess in this alternate timeline, they took some Chimera technology and made waterproof radios.
And trust me, it's not like just for this situation. You'll see soon enough that this has to apply also to Grayson himself. Nothing to see here, kind stranger. Taste my rockets, please. Fuck. Thankfully, the Titans are not as dickish as in Resistance 2. As you can see, I can still manage to handle them pretty fine in normal mode. So, there is that.
Cool.
There you go. Yeah, that's another thing. Okay, I don't know if it's maybe mapped particularly, I haven't seen it yet, but you don't even have a sprint button. So unfortunately, in all situations where you traverse a level, Grayson tends to be a bit on the sluggish side. It's nothing too, annoying, but you will notice it sometimes. Oh, what was that?
Sure, it was just the wind.
Of course. I mean, we are in a big Chimeran tower, you know, not tower, but something close to that. We kind of have to expect someone or something to be present here.
Drones.
Well, the drones have been a thing since relatively early on, actually. Oh, and by the way, if you're noticing, while the drones are not their last leg, they will try to perform a suicide attack by, you know, going when they're basically engulfed in flames. They will try to actually rush towards you. But if you manage to shoot them, they will explode there on the spot. So it's up to you to decide if you want to conserve bullets or focus on another target and take the risk of them accidentally falling on top of you, giving you damage.
What fun.
Okay, now we're having actual bloom. Holy shit.
Like I've mentioned, Bloom, at least, and look, I'm not saying that Bloom is always bad, but Bloom, at the very least of the era when this game was made, amounted to essentially brighter light and more blur.
You're also noticing
kind of
that the
high
frame...
power and kind of low quality some of the.
You're also noticing how the frame rate is, you know, dipping also a bit. It's gonna be something that happens also later.
Don't tell me the Bloom's also causing the lag.
It might be possible, a lot of the particle effects and everything.
And, you know, even if I'm looking at the mentality of back then, I don't know, did we really think that this... Well, okay. The graphics, yes. People probably did think they looked good back then, but did anyone really like the Bloom even back then?
It was just a decision, a bit similar to how these days everyone love particular sprinkles of particle effects, you know. It's just a thing that they decided to do back then. It's just that they, you know, probably thought that, you know, these days it would, you know, be seen in a more counterproductive way than anything.
Yeah, I guess the reason Bloom stands out to me the most is like, well, that is like something that people, even if they did love at some point, these days, a lot of people have turned on it. And to be fair, that is... Are you talking while underwater, honey?
I'm in a holding chamber.
Yeah, she's finding air pockets. That's not her, by the way.
Okay, good on you. You're doing the Sonic method of finding them air pockets.
It's just that some... Again, this basically started this... it's gonna become a bit comical because throughout the entire level, you know, Grayson receives talks with Bouchard saying, "Oh no, I cannot breathe, you know, I'm about to drown." And Grayson's like, "Hold on, I'm coming, stay put." And that happens like something like 10 times.
Holy cow, how long does this conversion process take? Bouchard's pretty lucky as it is.
Yeah, we were quoting Sonic. How long this is gonna go on? Well, to be fair, I don't think the length of his level is particularly bad. It was just, you know, observing the way it was done, the dialogue between the two. Anyway, you notice that enemies with an auger have started appearing, which means also we're eventually close to about to getting one of our own. So the big question is the auger, you know, a decent enough functioning weapon in this game or not? Well, that's what we'll have to find out.
Let us see.
That one Trump. Yeah, more sleep skulls. Again, it's kind of nice, but when a particular horde of enemy ambushes you, you know, sometimes the music stinger, you know, it's relatively different depending on which enemy it is. So the game kind of gives you a, you know, a way to recognize which enemy type might be ahead if you haven't spotted them. That's pretty neat. Again, compared to stuff like, say, Dead Space, where, you know, the music stinger that happens when a, you know, necromorph showed up is mostly the same, which is effective. It's just that, you know, it has been kind of parodied a bit in a sense that, you know, it's described usually as a slab of meat jumping out, you know, of a wardrobe, going blah, you know, but you'll be able to see eventually. Come on, Grayson, move your legs, Jesus.
I don't feel like it.
Like, what? Do you have a grape and potato stuck in your ankles? Move!
Yes.
Actually, yes.
Bet you weren't expecting that, were you?
That would explain some
Will
of
you
the
shut the
attitude.
fuck up? I'm trying to rescue you here.
That is a very well and concise and detailed explanation from somebody who should be drowning.
And again, every time he's just, of course, Grayson just telling it when he's there, because what else can he do, you know, when you get down to it at this point.
Tell us, shut up and conserve her oxygen.
To be fair, she has to tell him
That's kind of
these
what
details,
he's saying
guess.
to her, Lives. He's just, you know, just be glad that he's not rude in this occasion.
I guess, to be fair, he understands that she is panicking, and, you know, nobody likes to be turned into a chimera.
And I can tell you already, you probably guessed because I haven't mentioned it yet, but the game, you know, despite having Bouchard in this occasion, is not really relying on old, you know, situation of damsel in distress. You'll be able to see, you know, on in due time what happens. But it seems that the game is actually leaving a lot of large ammos, you know, in this place that feels like a large area. I wonder. It also seems to have this particular gimmick about these platforms. I'm sure it's nothing. Let's call it the elevator.
Intriguing, isn't it?
And there's the Auger. The Auger WS is a modified version of a Chimeran assault rifle. Press the R button to fire a single burst of radiation capable of tunneling through solid matter. Hold the R button to fire multiple bursts. The targeting reticle will turn red when it locates valid targets, including hidden ones. Press the L button to deploy a widescreen shield that blocks all the enemy fire except for the Auger fire. The shield remains active for several moments and will begin to flicker before its charge runs out. So it's not as good as in Resistance 3, but it's a good compromise, and I can argue the game doesn't have dickish moments where the enemy is behind a wall and you're not able to see them. So it's much more useful here. And yeah, now we're having a boss fight, a proper mini boss fight against one of these, you know, bipedal mechs without any support. You know, it's up to our own. It's kind of similar to when the Titan one was introduced later on. However, this arena has the gimmick that I just mentioned before. If you manage to lure the machine here, you know, right in front of here on that platform and activate the button, you will be able to stun it without the electric discharge. I just need to properly, you know, trap it over here. Let's see if the button actually gets reset. Hey, I'm over here.
I'm over there.
Making me. I'm over there.
And now the music decided to be kind of like Brendan Fraser's The Mummy.
Again, I'll give them credit. They did not skimp on the music.
Like I said, it's nothing that I will, you know, immediately listen again a lot of times and, you know, and consider it like a proper leitmotif. But it's solid. It's doing it's the job it's supposed to at the very least.
And I'd argue
and yeah,
it's...
again, more jump cuts because this fucker also loves to spam the seizure rockets, as I like to call them.
Seizure rocket. Wonder why more enemies don't think of that.
Maybe because developers tend to actually respect the vision of, you know, people.
Oh, I know why gameplay-wise, but you have to wonder story-wise why some villains don't go for the auditory senses.
That's usually that will be a game where the enemy has you know, access to flashbang grenades.
True.
Or sometimes it's your team that flaunts a launcher, like in SWAT 4. Ah, you fool!
okay, to be fair, yeah, that is essentially what flashbang grenades are for.
They'd sleep. What the?
Oh my god, he practically
did he go?
teleported. What the hell? Oh, he's in that corner there.
Yeah, like you said, even after the patches that this game has received, there are still a couple of bugs.
Well, to be fair, do we even know if these bugs were bugs from the original game, though?
It might be an emulation thing, yes.
Can't see. Radio shouting out. Grayson!
I'm coming, Bouchard. Find an air pocket. Keep your head up.
I'm sorry, the way the cutscene is presented is...
I know, right? It's like he runs there, but then just stands.
Comical.
It's like he runs there, then just stands like an NPC.
And it's
Yeah, it's
not,
like
because it's a
the dialogue
dramatic moment.
The dialogue doesn't really suit the scene.
What's going on? Yeah. You can tell it's one of those situations where maybe on the PS3 we will be able to animate the cutscene a bit better. But alas, I can still understand what they were going for. So in the next part, to see if Grayson manages to free Bouchard from the never-ending tubes. See ya.
See ya.